Hello, Liebchen. I am Fritz. I am on time. To pleasure your wife. For money.
I'm Charles Bronson. I'm also Michael Douglas. And I have sex. I have a reproductive penis. And it doesn't hurt. I use it to have sex. I drive my Mercedes to the bathroom. And I have maritals with your police chief. It sounds like this. The Mercedes 380SL R107 is a pointless car. The seats are for in-shape people. The back seat doesn't exist. The trunk is shallow. The 3.8-liter V8 revs slowly. The automatic wants fourth gear all the time, like fifth graders want seconds in the cafeteria. The steering wheel doesn't adjust, and in the USA, the R107 was forced to run legacy sealed beam headlights instead of form-fitted housings. But ignore all that transportation logistics and just look at the shape. It's a blend of 1970s crotch bulge aesthetic and 1980s square futurism. It's brown and modern and smooth and rumbly. If you hold an R107 in a lower gear, it sounds like this. Mercedes-Benz 380SL, an important car for important people. This is the car for the man who doesn't clear his voicemail inbox. Because if he doesn't answer the phone, it's because you didn't have anything important to tell him. Mercedes-Benz 380SL, for the man whose favorite dinner is just appetizers. The currency of the automotive world is deception. Because there are few lies as bald-faced as Mercedes calling this a sports car. Even sports luxury is a misnomer. This is like someone who's in cosmetically good shape but can't take all the grocery bags in the house in a single trip. Children have been Edward grocery hands since the beginning of time, but you can't get a plastic bag of Sam's Club chicken cutlets more than 3 feet from the Honda Odyssey without having to readjust. Hey everybody, this guy's posting rookie numbers. But here's the thing about this car. No, it isn't meant to be fast or fun like a Miata, but it has a timeless look. It's comfortable, and the views from the driver's seat are as broad and welcoming as the New York skyline just before the Holland Tunnel. And it's built like a tank. I mean, it's going to run forever if you're on top of it with good maintenance. And this is because so damn many of these cars were built in its heyday that you're going to find parts if you need them. In a way, it's the perfect LA car. The 380SL is part of the R107 lineup of Mercedes cars, and out of the 300,175 units produced for the R107 and its sister, the C107, around 68% of them were sold in the United States. This is arguably as focused on the US market as Mercedes had ever been up until this point. And this is how we ended up with this car being presented as something sporty when it wasn't. The 380SL showed up in 1980. With its name coming from the 3.8-liter V8, which was a smaller engine than its predecessor due to emissions regulations. But there was a catch. Despite being smaller, it made the same horsepower as the 450SL. It was a difference of just 5 horsepower, and anybody who can tell you if there's a 5 horsepower difference with their butt dyno is lying to you. The 450SL made 160 horsepower versus the 380SL, which made 155. It's the same thing. So you had something with adjacent power, and it also kept the car lighter, which you would think would translate to a more sporty driving experience, but that's not what you get. The The 380SL wasn't as athletic as its contemporaries like the Celica Supra or the CRX, I guess. And it wasn't as luxurious as its competitors like the Rolls-Royce Corniche and the Cadillac Alante. In this particular segment, there really wasn't anything to compete against the R107 with. Maybe a convertible Corvette, but that's a completely different animal. The Corvette was cheap, and an R107 wasn't. This thing cost $39,000 in 1981, and that price climbed as high as $43,000 4 years later. Adjusted for inflation to 2022, this Mercedes would have cost $118,600 today. It doesn't feel like a six-figure car, at least to what we're used to, even considering the amazing condition this is in. But the R107 carried a cultural weight of received opulence, the type of person who can afford to be a traitor to their own self-interests. The director of American Gigolo knew exactly what they were doing, putting this car in the very beginning of the film. This was insanely expensive for a car that really doesn't do anything for you other than present yourself. I don't need this car. I want this car. This is the essence of a luxury item, an unnecessary addition to the velvet paradise of wealthy living. You knew exactly who Richard Gere was portraying when he rolled around Southern California in one of these, getting suits, parking out front in front of expensive buildings, getting back in the car, and banging women who could afford him. These are people for whom the answer is always yes. I don't make excuses to people, they make excuses to me. I am the one to whom apologies are offered. Theirs is a road as surely lined with gold as the road to hell is paved with, "I was just trying to help." You take this car, with gas mileage in the high teens to mid-20s, a car that takes regular instead of premium, and you transverse the intermission of autumn through falling leaves and brisk temperatures that invite open windows and warm cider. You take the road and return to nature, like Halloween pumpkins dumped into the stream behind the house because the dumpster is too far away. And when the weather sours, the hardtop goes back on. No need to freak out like an Android screen with a drop of water on it. Those worries are beneath your concern. Let the commoners rabble, inventing ways to create a more perfect torture for themselves. It's 1985, and you just dropped 5 figures on a Mercedes-Benz you don't need, because you know a nice car is the difference between looking like you have money and looking like you owe it to someone else. Every year in Pennsylvania, we get a week of warm, dry fall weather where the leaves are falling, colors popping, and you can still drive a convertible. The world slows, waits for you. The chaotic holidays are 5 weeks away. No need to think about them. Halloween is either this weekend or just past. Work deadlines are pushed back. Your phone is on silent. Hell, it could be at home. Nature, look at me. Let your eyes wander over my tumescent length of free time. And you're going to use that free time to plan your stops because the breaks feel like wooden benches at that one away game at that one school that can't afford aluminum bleachers. They still have wooden bleachers left over from 1996. Don't fidget or you'll get a splinter right through your band pants. Steering is American luxury light. Hang an arm and steer with 2 fingers. 380SL. You still listen to piano music on compact disc. Not because your mom put it on in the car, but because you enjoy the feeling of everything is okay. And in a 380SL, you are traveling to that place where there is order and fairness. Fernois. It's a German word. Fernois. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. It's the feeling of wanting to be somewhere else, far away, an escape to some unknown ethereal place. The R107 cures Fernois.
I'm gonna rake the leaves and bust. In the pile. Spanish tile, Miracle Mile, metal file, R107. I'm a man of consequence. who's gonna consequence all over your wife.